I promise you a nigga never ain't gonna try, but we ain't saying bye, it'll take more time. Spill thoughts, but I'm sipping. This ain't death, but I wouldn't call us hearing. All the plans we have for getting rich, I hope you ain't forgetting. See, we was bidding on some shit that was forbidden. You get it? They don't know how I'm healing. Sick to my soul days since I had a memory. Something happened to my nigga, and what happened, don't see really. I'm really wishing that the world could forgive him. Fuck.
Never got attached to a job. Like, I like some jobs more than others, but
Yeah.
like, I can't get attached to somebody else's, because I'm someone who's like thinking of like, I want to own something one day, and I want to be a boss, and I want to. So like when I'm working
So
for
you don't
somebody,
want to work for somebody.
no, and like when I'm there, it kind of like anywhere I work, it kind of makes me like, I don't know. I just start to like in those stress moments. That's all I think about. I was like, why like I'm bigger than this. I'm bigger than this, and like it's an ego thing that's the battle I always had, but. I still just show up and just do it, but inside I'm dying because I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Like, this shit ain't going to take me out of poverty. That's how I look at it. Like, no matter how hard I work.
Here's the reality. You either gonna have to get famous or you're gonna have to finish school and do something with it. That's just life.
100%. But
I mean,
my also thinking is like, if I don't drag nobody else down with me, right? And I'm not trying to drag nobody down, myself or anybody. But my whole thing is like, if I can like keep chasing my dreams, keep trying to be something, like make money, then like don't have kids, even don't get in a relationship. As horrible as a life as that sounds, like I'm not like in my mind committed to like being something, making something of myself. And that's why I keep doing so many different avenues. But I do need to kind of like, I mean, I'm an artist.
you never know. You could change your mind. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, here's the thing. My whole mindset has always been like, if I did, like, because I obviously being with what's her name and all that, like, my whole mindset was like, okay, if I do get someone pregnant, I don't give a shit. I'll dedicate my whole life to working wherever I need to work just so those kids are provided for. But I'm not in that boat, so.
Stay out of it and you'll be good.
Yeah.
I mean.
And the worst that happens is I end up just being somebody with not being very successful and probably end up having to work a job when I'm like 45, realize like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to be a fucking dishwasher somewhere for the rest of my life. Or whatever, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think right now I gotta use it to like.
If you could pick any time period to live in with the knowledge you have, where would you go? Don't be boring and stay here.
Can't go into the future.
You can. Like, where do you...
If you reborn into that time period. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. And I get... Future is hard because I don't know. But, like, let's say the past. Let's keep it.
It'd have to be, like, during the... I don't know, because it's hard, because if I was a mixed person during any certain age time, I'd be fucking hated by so many.
So would you like say, which it'd be harder for you, but if you think you could, would you try and pass as white, say in a time, like Jim Crow time, 50s?
Oh, would I try to pass as white? I don't think I think out of all of us, I'd be the one to not pass as white, but look-wise. But no, I don't think I could. I think I'd have to be a part of...
Do you think if you know what you know now, would you be a part of the civil rights movement if you were back then? Or would you be like kind of scared? Because I mean, like it's...
I think I'd be scared, but I would definitely do it. Like, I'd understand.
Yeah.
I would stick up for the cause 100%. I mean, I'm Black. I have to. Like,
you don't have to. Not everybody did. Are you more on the...
Well, I know some people just took it and like...
Yeah.
Went with the... No, I couldn't.
I don't fault them because life was hard. I mean...
Well, that's why I wouldn't, because the quality of life wouldn't match up. If my quality of life isn't right, then like... I'm down to do it.
And you kind of already know that you're on the winning side.
Well, even without the knowledge of knowing that you would, just go back and say you're naive. You're just one of those. Because they did have a choice if you think about it. You either obey and listen to what they want you to do, and you get treated better if you obey better.
Right.
Or you just...
But see, I guess
rebel.
for me, you obviously look more Black than I do. I wonder, like, if I'm being honest with myself, if I would fight for it, or if I would just try and pass as white because it was easier. I mean,
I think from a yeah, and that's the difference is one, you're not, you look black, you obviously look just like me, but you could pass. You could.
I could like put on enough.
If you were
makeup.
male, I don't think you could.
No.
I think that's literally the only difference is that like there's
Well, men tend to get more traits from their father, so that makes sense.
yeah. Well, even look at Channing. Like, there's no way people don't know he's mixed. Like, don't not know he's mixed.
Maybe.
Well, we also haven't seen him in, like, face to face in so long, but because when we were 15, I thought he was just straight white. I didn't believe he was actually when we first met him when he came down those stairs. I didn't look at him like, oh, this is one of my siblings.
Yeah.
I just looked at it like kind of what's going on because they were bringing him downstairs.
Yeah.
But he looked so, especially at 15. But then when we saw him later, a couple years later or whatever, he had like grown into his beard and all that. I could see the mixed in him then. But like when we were young, I was like, I didn't even think when they first got him down, my brain didn't go, oh, that's a brother or something of mine. Courtney and all them, they immediately looked like.
Well, Courtney is full black.
Yeah. But for some reason, I knew it was like a sister or something. Like I knew it was because she looked like us or she
Yeah.
looked like dad.
Yeah, I guess.
And Channing, I think he did look more a little bit like dad as he got older. But when I first met him, something about him just said like, nah, like because I look so
He's
much
kinda
like
goofy
dad.
looking.
Well, and I just all of us, we all look so much like dad that him not looking, I think he looks the least like dad out of
Yeah.
all of us. And it was like,
Do you think I look like dad, or I just have some dad's
well, we all have
features?
dads like
Because
very
there's sometimes
features.
I find
yeah.
myself looking, especially when I was a little heavier. Like I was like, oh my god, I look like mom.
Well, I think you guys have more, like, I can see mom in the face a little bit more.
Yeah.
As you guys got older, especially Kayla because of how what she's done to her body. But
Yeah.
I think you look, I don't know, you're just probably like a mix of both of them.
I know.
And I'm just, I guess, the same. Like, there's little features about me that have moms I've noticed, but
Yeah, I gotta like stare you down.
yeah, it's
to
hard
find
to,
out. I think Kayla probably the most right now.
yeah, she looks the most like mom. And then, yeah, you got a little bit of her mom. But I think it's
know.
more because we're more slimmer and like naturally like taller.
Pretty.
Which
We're like
mom's
the
is tall?
Zendaya effect. You know what I mean? Like you've seen Zendaya's parents, they're like very plain looking people.
Yeah.
And people were like, how do they make such a beautiful child? It's like just throw the right genetics together and you get it right.
Yeah, but I've never seen mixed kids look bad, like ugly. But I've
No.
seen their parents be really, really like ugly.
Yeah, like busted.
Yeah, like super busted parents, and you're like, what? And mom was beautiful when she was young, and dad was handsome.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just kind of like we got lucky.
He
with
looks
those.
rough now. He's so fat. Like mom looks skinny standing next to him. And he had to come in and say hi to mom and papa, which was kind of awkward, but it was like, do your do, whatever. I went I don't know, it was I know how you feel about him, and it's hard. It's hard to explain like how I feel.
I do get it. I mean, I don't.
I know.
My whole thing is, which, whatever, some stuff need not be explained, but just let's say overall in my life, from my standpoint, my biggest issue of just dad, right,
Yeah.
is the fact of, one, my personal being a man issue, like having to grow
Right.
without him. But then two, all the stuff I've had to see, like, and not necessarily you, but Kayla go through naturally, like,
Right.
without having dad around, because she always loved him the most. And she always, like, when he was coming to see us in North
Yeah.
Carolina, and she sat in my room looking out that window, like, all night and stuff. I never forgot that in my whole life. That was one of the turning points for
Yeah.
me where I got real pissed. And then that next day, because
Is that when he
or a
he did
couple days
call.
later,
Yeah, he took
he
a while.
called, right? And he got all pissy because I think
He went
I
to
cussed him
jail.
out. Yeah, he said some bullshit. Like he always does. Some bullshit.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to him, now I'm like 15, 16. I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina. half black, like whatever. And now I don't say like nigga a lot or whatever, but back then like it was just in my everyday life with my friends. That's how it was. Like
Right.
there's no issue. And so I cussed him out like he was just just a punk I was about to fight or something, because I was so pissed. I remember about Kayla waiting, not necessarily me, but Kayla.
Right.
And he got like all pissed, telling me how he's kick my ass. Don't I ever call him a nigger or whatever. And I'm like, first of all, what the fuck? It blew my mind, first of all, that he was going that angle. That's how I know. I'm like, yeah, he's whacked out. Two, I always knew after that, because when I was real young, I remember him during that one time, like I got real pissed when he like hit me and shit. And I remember him looking me in my eye and telling me no matter how old I was, that he brought me in this world, he can take me out and stuff. Right? And so in that whole 15-year-old thing, that's kind of when, like, up until that point, I was kind of like, I still hid in his shadow type deal. That's my dad, and that, like, I would think that's the truth. But after that day, when I seen him kind of get emotional about that, and I was like, oh, I could get under this. Like, this dude can't do nothing to me. Like, I just knew that, like, I had surpassed a certain part, and I truly believed that. Like, and he knows it. Like, I would kill him with my bare hands if that's what I wanted to do. Like, but
If you could get him around his fat ass neck.
oh, I would crush him. I'm telling you, I would knock him out with my fist first, and that would really hurt him. But we're never gonna get there, because I'm not gonna see him. Like, I just won't go in the same vicinity. He don't deserve me in his life. That's how I feel, because I'm bigger than all that. But I just say that because I find it funny. And then he would use, like, there was him and Maria when they lived together, got into this fight or whatever, and he said, I guess I was away at Ben's, and he told her that, because her sons were coming in town and stuff, and he told her that if she like said anything to the sons, that I was gonna, or they ended up like trying to flip out. I don't know, they did something to dad or try to fight him. Yeah, he told them that I was like a black belt in some shit. He made up some weird, crazy shit, right? And told them that I'd be back, blah blah blah, this day, and that if whatever. And so, like, me and her laughed about it, because I was like, well, first of all, even if I was a black belt in anything, why the fuck would I fight your sons? They're not in the wrong. Like, they're defending their mom. I'm not a stupid motherfucker.
I'm not getting involved in
like,
this shit.
Yeah, like, and I was like, and then second of all, like, where does he come up with this shit? Like,
he's a liar. He's a master liar.
But he's not a master.
No, he's really
I
bad
think
at
when
it.
he was younger, he kind of was, but I think like he really has, for like the past maybe let's say 10, 15 years, he hasn't understood that nobody believes his shit.
Right.
Nobody. I mean, Maria ended up finally leaving him. Why is that? Because she actually stopped believing his shit.
Yeah.
Diana. He went back to Diana. Why did she leave him, go get married? And shout out to her, because she was always very sweet to me. She never,
He's a liar. I mean,
it's hilarious to me.
I know. That's what Mom was saying. He was saying he had to fly to Alabama for some fucking training. He's assistant manager of the janitors or assistant business building manager. That's what it is.
And maybe he is, right?
And that's cool, but
yeah, who gives a shit? How did that benefit any of the kids you brought into this life?
Yeah.
That's what a man is. It don't matter about the rest of that shit.
I know. I guess my relationship with him is different, because you have to think it's kind of tainted by Mom, because I was kind of her little lackey for a long time. It wasn't really until as a teenager I started feeling it, and then like in my 20s that I recognized my traits that I did get from Dad, and so it made me kind of like start opening my mind to the situation as a whole. I mean, I've been fed every time something went on, who was right there in the front fucking seat listening to it through everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even that she'd tell me. Even with all her relationships, she didn't have to tell me. She's on the phone with them the whole fucking time, and we can all hear it, right? So.
Well, and I imagine when you're the oldest too, you naturally you're gonna listen in a little more, and you're gonna hear.
Yeah, and I think parents, especially single moms, are going to naturally lean on their older children, and that makes like the oldest child kind of take some of that emotional toll, and it's unfair, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad Parker doesn't have to really deal with that.
Yeah.
So, And so like, I don't know. I don't like him as a person, but then I feel sorry for him and then I'm angry at him. Like, it's legit when I see him, it's like a just big ball of weird emotions. Like, there's a lot of awkward silences. You can tell, like, he and I have never been close just like by our conversation. And we just like staring off. We hung out in total for like an hour, hour and a half. We came back to the house and grandma's like, "You're back already?" And I said, "I told y'all, like, after he left, I told y'all we wouldn't be together long because I don't I don't think he necessarily likes me because he doesn't really know me, but
I think to be real, I think out of all of us, he's scared of you the most
I think so.
because, well, one, you're just, I think, the most headstrong. Like, you'll tell somebody like it is in an instant,
Yeah.
and it's, you don't have to be angry. You just naturally do that. And him, he's also with you. I feel like he knows he can't like lie or
Manipulate me. It doesn't
manipulate.
work.
Yes,
Yeah.
it just nothing. Yeah, it just won't work. And for everybody else in the situation, me, mom, Kayla, everyone in his life, it has worked at points in our
Yeah.
lives, right? And like for me, that's what my stopping it was the only thing he could manipulate me on was like, just constantly, saying I'm sorry, but then showing shitty dad
Yeah.
tendencies and just bullshit. Not, and then
That's
of course
him. I mean,
everything
that's
else.
all he'll do forever and ever and ever, you know. And
I think it's like with all of us, right? And maybe one day Kayla can, at some point get on podcast and be able to talk
yeah.
about her stuff, but I think it's overall it shows why parents and us in general, us now realistically, we have to be wise with who we decide to actually have
Have kids
kids
with.
with, and when we decide even just who
Yeah.
we're laying down with. And I mean, I haven't been perfect as far, obviously with no kids or whatever, but I haven't been perfect in that.
Yeah.
But like I have been better than a lot of people I know, my peers and
Right.
stuff. I've thought about certain things like, okay, yeah, maybe she's really cute, but I can't stand her.
Yeah.
And I think about that and I don't go, oh, what if I got her pregnant? I have to deal with it forever. No, I just go, okay, I probably shouldn't deal with somebody that I just
Yeah.
can't connect with at all. And like, I in the end, parents got to stick together because that's how you give the children the best,
Yeah.
and
I'll
it
say like
continues.
this, I'll from everything I experienced as a kid, it definitely made me even more so like I'm not dealing with that shit, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, Garde is a complete opposite of dad
Yeah.
in every way, shape, and form, and there's a reason I think subconsciously like I was just like fuck this, like because I mean, with dad, I can remember feeling bad when mom was upset. Fred a little bit, but I didn't really see her very much upset with Fred. It was more anger over stupid shit. And then with Tony, by then I was just like, why do you keep doing this shit to yourself? And that was like, I was a teenager, so I thought my mom was pathetic. Like, you have a fucking big ass dream catcher,
Honestly,
Lumbee.
that's when I started to
You're
kind of
fucking
like switch.
tagged for
Yeah.
life, right?
That's when I kind of understood, like, okay, yeah, mom's got some issues too going on for sure.
Yeah, but it also, like, for me, the thing I realized about mom is even as she got stronger, mom has a kind of false confidence. She doesn't have a true confidence in herself, which is why she always picks shitty relationships, right? It's like, oh, someone's giving me attention. I don't even think she's ever really had a good relationship or knows what one is.
Well, and I think that was one of her, like, only real serious relationship. And look at that. That's a shitty relationship
I
to
mean, Fred
have
was
serious.
like serious
I
in a
mean, like,
way. Like no one else
but I mean,
lived
like,
with
he was one
us.
of the first. So that was
Yeah.
like one of, it
Well, she
fucked her
dated
up.
that Muslim guy who beat her.
Well, and see, and that's two people out of probably
Yeah.
her first three boyfriends
Right.
that were just piece of shit, right? Like, it does. I could see why mom lacks the confidence. Like, I can see and understand because one, I know dad, and I'm a man. I know
Yeah.
what words affect you. No matter what, if
Yeah,
I'm
and
with
he's a
someone, I don't
liar
ever
and
talk down.
manipulator,
Like,
and she's very. I don't think obviously it doesn't work on her now with dad, but Kayla's the same way. And like, the next day, dad wanted to show the VA off so bad, like they built a new one, and mom was like, "Fuck no." And I was like, well, let's just stop by. He can come out. Let me say bye since we were going down to whatever we went to. Anywho. So, we get there and mom's already, her mouth's going off about him. And I was like, I gotta say, like, it makes it awkward when you're like, make rude comments to him. And she's like, yeah, I know. That's why I didn't go to dinner with you. And like, for me, it's like, can't you just shut up? Like, I get it. I get why everybody feels, and even my mom and papa looked at me like, oh, you're going to dinner with your dad. It's unexpected, but that's why it's like, I don't know. It's a hard.
Well, not for nothing, but with both of them, I've kind of, that was the point for me for both of them where I said I have to kind of like wash my hands, because I always felt such like this heavy weight to have to. I mean, look, I took dad in for all those months. I've just always felt this weight that, because what they teach us, him especially when we were kids, family's family, you gotta take care of family.
Yeah.
And I believed that, but I believe that so strongly amongst the four we had. Like,
Right.
that's my four. No matter what, they need help on call, I'm going, right? And I was still like that with Kayla. I was.
Yeah, but she took advantage of it.
But I can't no more, right? Like, the only thing I can do is, because these two are my family, is I just got to show. That's the only way I can show my love to her. I don't want to talk to her on the phone. I don't want to. And who knows when that'll be. I'll definitely forgive Kayla. I can, right? Like, I can. She hasn't done nothing wrong to me besides not be there for the kids.
Yeah, I don't know. She has that way, that same kind of. I mean, I talked to her when we were in Florida. She called right as Dad showed up, and she sounds very country, very very country. But you kind of like feel bad, and it's hard because even with her, because I used to be kind of closed-minded, thinking like just angry, like because we talked all through Autumn's pregnancy, and I knew she was doing drugs, but because of my own situation with Parker, I didn't judge her. But I was like, when you have this baby, you're gonna have to chill the fuck out. She like called me every day on her lunch break, and I can remember one time she told me, "Yeah, I'm snorting a Percocet." She's like 8 months pregnant. I didn't realize until Autumn was born that she had been on methadone too. So then I was kind of pissed because I was like, "You're a fucking mom now, so you gotta stop doing everything and be a mom," because that's what I did.
Yeah.
But it took me a long time to learn that addiction is like a lot different than just.
And I do understand it, because you get to a point you're too far gone. I get it, right? But here's the thing. I also, as cold as it may sound, at this point in my head, it's like, okay, like I've had to all these years we've had to understand her. It's all about understanding her. She doesn't know about half the feelings we felt. No. Not a single feeling we felt. Not even just about her, but in our normal lives. Whereas this was a person that was so deep in our lives where she would have cared. Kayla would have been there for us,
right.
Through whatever. But why? At some point, I have to go, okay, you obviously care more about the drugs than even just checking on your brother or sister, asking how we're feeling or whatever.
She does. She cares about the drugs more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Like, that's what happens. And I get it. But you can't expect at a certain point, right? In the beginning, we always were cool. We're always trying to talk to you, always trying to get you off. Stop doing this. We're staying in your life. But at a certain point, you're holding up our lives too.
Right.
Because we're emotionally attached. We love you. We all this. But there's like, I think last year, I was talking, I think Josh probably about Kayla. And he was like, dang, bro, how old is she now? And I remember it. I'm like, she's only, a year and a half younger than me. Like, you're too old at this point for me to go, oh, she don't get it. She's lost in life or whatever. No, it's past that. So what can I do at this point anymore? What can her big brother do for her anymore? Nothing. So, but what can she do for me? Nothing. And I don't need nothing from her except for
shit together.
Exactly, right? And she's not doing the one thing I could need from her.
Well,
and so it's like, all right.
Mate, who knows? I mean,
I'll never trust it. She hasn't given me that
either, yet. But I've kind of, there's times like I feel angry, but I don't feel the anger that I used to, just because
you kind of let it go.
Once we saw her in Christmas,
You get to a point where you just go, you almost try to envision that she is just going to do straight.
Yeah.
And that, but the reality is, and we've gone through it so much already, any moment you can get that call, you know, and it's like, that's
I
fucked
think
up.
the hard thing is, and the natural reaction is, bring her out here, be closer to family. And here's the reality: people think that, like, because I've heard it. Yeah, for a little while that'll work,
Yeah.
but eventually she's gonna get a job. She's gonna get out there, and then what? She has to prove she can live on her own. That she doesn't need a babysitter. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah.
And, you know, because mom was already, well, she lives in a halfway house. And I said, no, mom, she has to literally, the only thing she can have is a fucking sponsor. Someone she calls when she feels those urges. Because that's just the reality of it. She's not trustworthy anymore because she's fucked up and been doing this so long until she gets there and can prove she can do that for a fucking year. Just say a year. No halfway house, no fucking curfews. You
Yeah.
are on your fucking own.
Yeah, you do it all.
When you feel those temptations, what are you going to do?
Because that's the problem, is we all have had to live all these years out doing us on our own, and I get she's been put in shitty situations because of it, but
Yeah.
she just skated by without having to go through the normal person's hard life. Go to work, come home, make sure these
'cause
bills
every
are
time
fucking
she
paid.
does, that's
Like-
when she fucking relapses. Every single time she has to just live normal life eventually, because we know Kayla. I don't think she's changed. When she gets bored, she gets in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's also changing behaviors. It's not just like the drugs. It's like a whole behavioral change. Got to get out of rehab. Or let's see how long it takes her to get a boyfriend. She has a cell phone now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
So she can find a place to live after she gets out of this rehab.
it's part personality and it's part the drugs, because she's naturally
It is.
just
Yes, it is. But that's the thing. Is
gotta
like,
be.
to me, if she does that, it's a pattern. So it's like it's already a ticking time bomb, because it's not, when she keeps following the same pattern, the same outcome's gonna happen
Yeah.
eventually. So let's see. You know, she got what, a month, 2 months left in rehab, where she's got babysitters 24/7.
Yeah. I know that mom's gonna eventually try to get her to come out here.
I know, especially when you leave.
Yes. And listen, at that point, not even at that point, I gotta wash my hands before it. I'm getting to that point overall,
Yeah,
because like
I'm good on that.
I can't. I have to be this way towards everybody, or else. And I try to tell it to mom, and I don't know if she hears me or not. But like, if mom goes, I've spent all, I don't have nothing for myself, right? Like, besides what she leaves me, then I have to
And it's
probably
two
take care of the
kids.
kids. Yeah. And it's like, I need to go out there now and like really get this shit rolling. Like,
And I
it
get
has to.
mom's feelings about wanting Kayla to be involved out here, because I think I'm good. It does get scared of that. Like, what happens if I die? What? I think she knows you can, but I think mom also doesn't want to inconvenience your life. I really do think in the long run she doesn't. Like,
No, I don't. I think mom wants what's best for me, but I also
I
think
know, but she can also get selfish and it gets clouded.
that's all it is. I think she gets clouded. I don't even think it's necessarily selfish. I think it's she kind of just gets like, she gets content too much with like,
Yeah.
oh, this helps here. I mean, she says it in her words all the time when she's talking, and it's like, no, it's not that I want to go directly back to any place I'm from or whatever, or I've already lived or whatever. It's not about, I don't know where my spot is, right? I just want to go where I feel like I can be the most productive and most successful. Where I just left, it was I could be very productive there.
Right.
But I was going through a situation. I'm going through emotions. I'm going through
Yeah.
what should I do, you know? And I figured I could knock out, which I have. I've knocked out 2 stones coming out here, right? Help out mom, help out myself by making sure I'm straight. Like,
Right.
but I got to go figure out what I got to do because
next?
yeah,
Yeah.
because like I said, I want to be successful. There's things out there for me. I know they are. It's just I got to be able to connect with the people that can put
Right.
me in those positions. And unfortunately, here's not the spot. The jobs don't work out. Everything's so far away, and I already don't know people. Sure, I could go out and be unrealistic and say, "Oh, I'm just gonna go around to the mall and start talking to people." That's
But
not my
there's not, it's
personality
not like
either.
how it is. Yeah, it's just also really small here.
Yeah, but if
I
I'm
know.
around people who can do those parts for me, right? Like having Josh at those art shows in Wilmington was a great help alone,
Mhm.
right? And Josh doesn't need nothing, which I'd give him the world if I got the world, right? But he doesn't need nothing from me. That's how we both operate, right? Like, oh, you need help just setting up? You want me to sit outside in the hot sun for 5 hours and
Right.
help you sell this art? I'll pitch it better than you. And that's the stuff that makes people great. You need teams, right? And I have you guys' support, of course. Like,
Yeah, but we have our own shit going on.
yeah.
I
And
get it.
I can't expect you guys to fully see or be a part of my vision,
Right.
right? You guys have your own things that you have to get settled. You have to do. And I understand that. But
Mhm.
if I'm just going to like, I don't know, I have to go for gold on everything. That's how I look at life. So with this podcast coming up and like all this stuff, I think it's like best, to be around the more people. Like even Josh was telling me, because there's this guy Rob out there that like I met when I went back for his birthday, and he like has a boat. They go like he's a part of like a fishing crew. They fish for like money and stuff. Um, but I was talking, Josh, I was like, I want to get out there. I want to do some podcasts with like our surfing buddies, like, and get some shots of them surfing, but then sit on the beach and like nice environments,
Right.
just good shots. And I said maybe even get out on a boat with like Rob or Dan because we have two friends there that have boats. And I never got the chance to go because, I always felt like I'd be leaving Cotton Jasmine hanging or something. And I just kind of like, I didn't want to go. But now I can go out and do those things and I can get footage, podcasts. And he's like, well, Rob went to school for like, I guess, videography or something. And he's like, he does all that. Like he has all the special high tech stuff. He's like, I could talk to him. I was like, yeah, let him know what I'm doing. And I know he's a guy that would also be down, right? Like, and he's hilarious. Like just, even if at the very least he got on the podcast, he's hilarious, right? But hearing that, it's like, ooh, more and more.
Yeah, dude,
So
you gotta
it's,
do you. Mom will be alright.
no,
I
I
mean,
know.
I
I
think
just,
she's like, she did say, I kind of wish I thought more about it before I moved to Arizona. And it's like, be real. What were you going to do if you had to travel? Because the reality is, like, you had to work and shit. It wasn't going to be like you could drop if she had to travel for a whole week. You can't stay a whole fucking week. You got rent
Yeah.
and shit to pay when you
Yeah.
were living there. Lori and Dan aren't going to watch the kids. Like, before you came out here, it was me. I do think she was a lot more lonely without you being here, just because she had to realize, like, I got my own shit going on. Like, I'll help you out, but
yeah.
even now I'm still kind of like, I don't want to hang out all the time. I think she gets jealous too.
Well, and not for nothing, we have also talked to her about you need to try to go out and meet people, have friends,
Yeah,
and
she
it's
don't
her
want to.
personality that won't do it. It's just that's the facts. And that night, again, that opened up some stuff because we're trying, and I could see it going in one ear and out the other. Well, blah blah blah. It's always
Yeah,
well,
it always is.
and it's like we're not trying to bash you. We're your kids, and we know you.
Right.
You know us. When you give us advice, we're older now. We're just grown, and we see things. And like I said, I need to go. And if she can get some type of little more support system, hey, that's
Right.
better for her. Like that works. When you travel, you may have some people that might be willing to, for the low, take care of the kids for the week. You don't
She
know.
won't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. She won't.
Well, but I can't sit around either. You can't sit
know.
around. We just can't, and she has to realize that too.
Yeah.
But I will give her this. When I called her about the whole job thing and everything, she did kind of like tell me, like, hey, I just want to thank you. Like, I know you put your life on hold,
Yeah.
for to help me, and like, whatever you want to do, like I understand, and like,
Yeah, that's what she said to me too. When I
and
talked to
it's
her about
like,
it.
but you see, but sometimes. And I don't know, me, that's all I need sometimes, like just to hear like, okay, like I got your back no matter what, you've obviously shown that you have mine,
Right.
because that's what it is, right? And
Right.
it's not a one-way street. Mom is in a better position to help me financially anytime throughout my life. She's been able to, like, she's not rich at all, but she's make more money than me.
Right.
If I remember her sending me $10, $20 if I need, it's, but I'm also very valuable in other ways, right?
Right.
And I think that hearing that let me know, okay, she's seeing it and she's understanding now that, like,
It's kind of taken a toll on my own life.
yeah, like, and it's not that I came out here and that I thought that shit was going to go the way with all these jobs and my own personal life outside of the kids and stuff, because I thought I fully had esteem to come out here. All right, we'll
Yeah,
just
but
figure it out.
It's harder than you realize until you're in it.
Well, it is one, and I've moved around. I've already lived in so many new places
Right.
that, not like, I realized the other day, mom can't really relate, because yes, she's moved in certain places, but it's always been, she's had that job lined up, she's had this, and like she ends up meeting people through the job, and it ends up working out, and that's how it usually works anyway. But it's hard to start up in new places, and this is the hardest because I'm in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
It's not Tucson. I mean, that opened my eyes a little bit, but it's also like, okay, so where would I even start to, like, okay, I met
I'm
one
gonna
person.
drive an
like,
hour all the time when I want to hang out.
yeah, like, not really interested in meeting. I don't meet new friends like that because people are just phony. Like,
Yeah.
I can usually meet you and tell if we can be good friends or not within a couple minutes. I mean, I don't know. I just want to go. I want to live a happy life. We only got one. I have to remember that too. And it's like, I don't want to go back and forth. Like, I will not be coming back out here unless I'm like fucking break my leg or whatever once I leave, or unless I'm successful and maybe think about buying property or whatever. But I'm going wherever the success is, and I know
Right.
that shit ain't here living. There might be something that pops up in Tucson, podcasting wise or whatever. Like, but like, I've already got, like, I hit someone up today. James, first of all, was hitting me up. He can't wait to do an interview. He's like, and I want to do it at his house. Then there's this girl in Fayetteville who actually, I think I went to high school with her, but she did like OnlyFans, right? And she's cute or whatever, but not like, I've never like hit on her or nothing, but I just always, she actually bought one or two jackets from me. That's what it was, some sunflowers. So I always just respect her, whatever. She's just doing her thing. But I messaged her because, I've been wanting to get someone of that world,
Right.
and she's, told me that she doesn't do it anymore, but I think she's tattooing now or something.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I'd still be down to, get the interview in or whatever. And she's like, yeah. I was like, well, I'm planning to try to make like a North Carolina run, but I'll probably just do it when I go back and just go to Fayetteville, hit James, hit her at her tattoo shop. And then there's a couple other people. I'm trying to get a couple like basketball players that kind of did some stuff from Fayetteville and try to see if I can get them on the podcast too. But then you got Florida. I mean, there's so many opportunities
Right.
not here, and maybe they are, but
Not really. This place sucks. I'm starting to feel more and more trapped, but it's okay.
it's just, yeah, it's the middle of nowhere.
I know, and I like want to feel that level of content Garday's at, but sometimes I start thinking like, is this really gonna be the spot? And then it's like, if it's the spot, I'm gonna have to travel a lot. Like, I'm gonna need some big bucks in the future because I can't. I'm over. Like right now, it's enough. Even sometimes, like I'm overwhelmed just by my own friends and shit. But it's just, I don't know.
Well, there's so many other places to live, like,
There are, and I feel like I'm somebody who's never gonna be happy in one place, just because that's just how we've been kind of growing up.
I think that's exactly
And
how.
that's why it's hard once you start having a family, because it's like it's not really fair to move kids around.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I think would be cool, but the education shit and Garde won't hear of it. Like that's the big like.
He loves it here.
Course, and
Or he said, doesn't he like Fayetteville though too?
Yeah, but he says he wants to stay in Arizona. He doesn't want to move again. He wants to build a house out here. Now his dad's dead, so the fucking property
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot.
and I get it. Yeah. And it's like, but I don't want to.
Was in the
I
army
mean, he
doing
was
well.
like doing well. Yeah. I've
Well, he does.
always
I don't think he's a big spender. That's
besides John, but he was also like falsifying things. I've always dated people who are doing pretty well, just because I'm not super high maintenance,
the thing.
but
Ja wasn't doing horrible. Like with his. Well, did
yeah,
his mom
but
own that house?
his mom, no, he told me when we were dating that it was his house. He bought it, that little house he lived
Yeah,
in.
I remember he was telling all of
No,
us.
Lori Rose told me his mom owned it. So I don't even know. I don't know if they ended up selling it or what. Because they sold their. Have you? I don't think you went out to their new house all the way out in Rayford. Is that where the fucking Indians live? Right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, they live
No,
in
no. Robinson
Mm-hmm.
Robinson County. Yeah. That's where they're out now. And the house is beautiful that his parents have, but there's no fence, and there's so many fucking shootings and crime and ODs out there. It's ridiculous. But
Yeah, I'd never live inland around that area.
let's
ever in
see.
my life.
I need to have Parker call him, and that's the shitty part. I have to have Parker call him. Let's see. The last time he talked to Parker, oh shit, he called on Monday. September 8th before that. I'll make him call him tomorrow. Fuck.
September, October. He's calling once a month.
Sometime. I called him September 8th.
Oh.
I know. Oops, I didn't see it. I'm talking shit. But still, like, once a month.
What? I
Hopefully
mean,
Parker's in a good mood tomorrow. I'll make him. If he lays in bed with me, he's nicer. But I could see it bothers John when he's like talking about daddy.
oh, does he say it to him? Like, oh.
Yeah, because like on Sunday, sometimes the kids will come like lay in bed with us. And that's when I'll usually make him call John, because it's usually when he's really nice and willing to talk.
Mm-mm.
But I'm like, John, daddy did this. And you can just kind of read John's face. He's not very good. He's gotten better about it, but you know, I told him it is what it is. He has to accept that you're just not dad. You are John, and he likes you that you're John, and keep it at that. Don't push it.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what happens, though. I mean,
he doesn't think about him, and I think John doesn't understand it because he hasn't lived with somebody who has autism. Like, Parker is somebody you have to be a constant for
yeah,
him to keep you
100%.
in mind. You know, so.
Even honestly with Parker, I've noticed, like, because he'll remember Kayla and stuff. As long as you have a good consistent streak. John's never had a consistent streak. Not like a year where
Yeah.
he's just like
I
faithfully
mean,
going
he's
in.
gotten better with talking to John. I mean, it helped the last time he went out there. The first thing he said when he saw him, we were walking up to that fucking church. He saw him, he went, stopped, he went, no. And I was like, Parker, you're not going to stay with him. We're all going to go in and play, blah, blah, blah. And he kind of was like, okay. That's right, because John was like, hey, buddy, no. I was like, give him a second. Let me talk his tism down.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
but see, John doesn't get that. He thinks he knows about it, and it fucking bothers me because sometimes when he talks to me, if Parker's like done or like kind of gets moody, he'll be like, yeah, did he have a bad day or something? And it's like, no, you don't understand. To him, this is a chore to talk to you. He doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And I can't make him. That's not my fault. You know, I kind of told John when he was younger, like, he
literally wants to do what he wants to. If he wants to go watch DVDs, he doesn't want to talk to me.
No.
It's just how he is.
That's, but.
Yeah, but you wouldn't understand it. Well, and the main thing is autistic people are it's just like, all it is to me is like, yes, obviously, they have their own thing ticking, but it's another personality trait, right? Because
Right.
they're each individually autistic.
Yeah.
None of them are like, they may have some similar traits that they like,
But they're all different. Yeah.
as they grow, yeah, they just, and he's, like I said, he doesn't even want to talk to me or you if he's interested in DVDs, if he's
Right.
interested in this. And yeah, yeah, I could get it because John, like, you can, not being in his life, you could read up on autism all you want. You could read
Yeah.
up on, whatever. You could take a million courses, go get certified. But you don't
If you
know
don't live
Parker.
it, right.
Yes, you're
And
not
you
with
don't
Parker every day.
exactly. He has a different quirk than anybody else.
You
I
gotta,
mean,
and John could have, maybe he still has chances. Parker's
no.
so young to learn him better. But all that would be is just calling more often and really being like, okay, he wants me to just sit and watch him
Yes.
look at these DVDs. That
And
might be
he
your whole
will.
hour.
He'll chill with him for a little bit. I mean, Parker's more like about a 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes when he's in a good mood, it's a little bit longer. Which is fine, but yeah, it has to be more frequent. And I get it. We have busy schedules, so I do
Yeah,
get it.
in time zone.
But he doesn't. That's the thing. He doesn't really talk to me about it. I don't have John's phone number. It's all through Facebook Messenger.
Well, here's the thing. At this point, how long it's been, but I say
Yep.
him. It's on him.
It is
He
him.
he could have developed some type of schedule that works with both you guys. Okay, I understand you guys are busy. What
Look,
day?
I think it's in our mediation paper to have a schedule. Okay. When I was in Texas, and I'm guessing he was using drugs. I think he told me that, but I'm not 100%. And I was pregnant with Sebastian. I told him, like, you have to make contact with Parker. You have to be consistent. He's getting older. Like, it's not, you're right. Thank you. You and Kyle are great. I'm so grateful to you. That's when he was breaking up with that one blonde bitch he had been dating for a while.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. Yeah.
I think I remember.
So, but did he do it? No. And then we moved out here. He saw him once when we first moved out here. And then the next time we saw him was when they got married. Yeah. But then, the thing is, now mom's out here. So I'd have to pay for somewhere to stay. Karen has a 2-bedroom house, and it's her and her son, right? So
Yeah.
Parker's not going to stay at your house. And if he does, then I'm going to have to stay there. And fuck that.
Yeah, I think the last time you went is when I lived in Wilmington still. Yeah. Well, if I go back, you guys can come that way, but you shouldn't have to.
Remember they were trying so hard to get him to come to the house, and he was like, fuck no.
Yeah.
They were trying, and I was kind of like, okay. He said no. You're not going to convince him.